welcome parents, guardians, everyone here. We're so glad you decided to join us. Tonight, we are in this series called Rooted, which is all about growing our faith and our community around us. And tonight is our last night of Rooted, and we're really going to focus on being sent out. So Martin Luther King Jr. has this great quote. He said, "Everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love." And I love what he does in that quote, because what he's doing is he's connecting greatness with serving. And that philosophy comes directly from Jesus, that if you want to be great, you need to serve, that they go hand in hand. In one of the Gospels, the book of Matthew, we see a few of Jesus' followers come up to him, and they're asking Jesus to honor them in his kingdom. And it's actually not even his followers, it's two of his followers' mom. So talk about a helicopter mom, right? Like, she's going up to Jesus like, have my son sit on your right and your left. And the other disciples, the other followers of Jesus, are so upset by this. They're like, how dare you ask that? Like, what gives you the right to do that? Because essentially what they're asking is to be the right-hand men to the king of this kingdom. And Jesus has this great response. You can check this out in Matthew chapter 20. It's going to be up on our screens. Grant, we got that slide? Oh, yeah, that's there. I'm sorry. All right, so Matthew 20, Jesus called them together and said, "You know that the rulers in this world lord it over their people, and officials flaunt their authority over those under them. But among you, it will be different. Whoever wants to be a leader among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first among you must become your slave. For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve others and to give his life as a ransom for many." So did you catch that? Jesus is saying the way this world works, the way the world works that we know is not the way his kingdom will work. You want to be the ruler, the king, you want to run the show. That's not being the president with all the power. It's not being the CEO that gets to make the call. It's not being the captain who gets the praise. If you want to lead, you need to serve. That's how you lead. That's how you are great. And Jesus said, "I came to serve, not to be served." And if we're really honest, do we have that mentality? Do you have that mentality? Like, when you walk into school, are you just like, man, how can I serve my classmates and my teachers today? All day. That's all I want to do all day. And you get home at the end of the day and you're like, how can I serve and care for my family, my parents, and my siblings? You come to church and you're like, man, how can I serve and encourage my group? And maybe you think that, but if you're honest, or maybe you're just like me, you may think more like this: man, I really hope my friends include me today. And I really hope my teachers notice me and celebrate me in front of other people. And when I get home, I had a really hard day. I really hope my parents notice that I had a hard day, and when I want to talk, they're ready to listen to me and talk to me. But when I want my space, I hope they just leave me alone, because I probably just want my space. And you get to church and you're like, this week's been crazy and it's only Wednesday. I just really hope it's just so much fun, and my group just encourages me and prays for me all night. And listen, those things are not wrong. I hope those things are happening and are true in your life. And you're not alone if you feel that. Because I think for all of us, we're all the main characters of our own story. Everyone else is a supporting character or even a background character in our life and in our story. But Jesus is going to challenge that mentality. He's going to call us out. And the best part about Jesus is that he doesn't just use words. He's not all talk. He's going to follow it up with the way he lives. So not long after he calls out the disciples and talks to them like this, he's approaching his final time on earth. And he's sitting with his closest followers, called the 12 disciples. He's sitting with them, having a meal. And he's hanging out with a man that's about to betray him, a man that's going to deny him 3 times, and an entire group of guys who are going to abandon him when he's arrested. And he's fully God, so he knows that. He knows that's about to happen. And what does he do? This is in one of the other Gospels, the book of John, chapter 13. This will be on the screens as well. It says, so he, meaning Jesus, got up from the table. He took off his robe. He wrapped a towel around his waist, and he poured water into a basin. And he began to wash the disciples' feet, drying them with the towel he had around him. So just a little bit of context. Washing people's feet would not have been weird. It actually would have been very normal. It would have been something that happened all the time when people came into your home. It was an act of just kind of honor and respect to clean their feet. They wore sandals all the time, and they walked everywhere. So picture your 6-year-old self playing outside all day long barefoot, and you come back inside, like your feet are nasty, right? Like you can think back to that. This is what their feet looked like. They were disgusting. And so when you came into a home, you would have someone clean their feet. So this was not weird that this was happening. But what was weird is that usually it was not the leader of the group. It was not the teacher in this case. This was a job that was saved for the lowest of servants to do. But here we have Jesus washing the feet of his followers. And so our guy Peter, if you've read much about him, he always kind of makes a scene. And so he's like, no, Jesus, you can't do this. Like, this is beneath you. Please don't wash my feet. I should be the one doing it, right? Like, don't do this. And Jesus kind of stops him. He calms him down. He's like, it is important that I do this. I have to wash each of your feet for you to be clean. And he goes one by one through each disciple washing their feet. And I want you to just kind of put yourself in that room. I imagine it was so quiet. Had to have been a little bit awkward because everyone's like, what is he doing? What do we do? What do I say? Do I look at him while he does it? Like, what's happening here? Why would he do this? And Jesus finishes washing the final disciples' feet. He puts on his robe and he sits back down. And watch how he explains it. Do you understand what I was doing? You call me teacher and Lord, and you're right, because that's what I am. And since I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you ought to wash each other's feet. I have given you an example to follow. Do as I have done to you. I tell you the truth, slaves are no greater than their master, nor is the messenger more important than the one who sends the message. Now that you know these things, God will bless you for doing them. So Jesus in this passage, he acknowledges who he is. He's not downplaying who he is. He knows he's the leader. He knows they're looking to him. But then he says, look what he did here. He said, but I just served you. So now you go and do as I do. So if you want to serve, the best way to do it is to do what Jesus did. If you want to serve, do what Jesus did. And what does this look like? Here's what it doesn't look like. Here's what I don't want you to do if you're taking notes. Do not go to school tomorrow with a basin of water and sit at the front door and wash every person's feet who walk in. You will leave with no friends tomorrow, okay? Like, don't do that. That's not what he's telling us to do. But what can you do? How can you begin to serve? How can you begin to serve the way Jesus did? Well, he tells us in John 15 that greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. So Jesus modeled for us not just serving when it's easy, not just serving the people he likes or the people that are easier to love, but he served to the point of death on a cross for every single one of us in this room. So the way Jesus served, if you want to serve like Jesus, serve with your life. If you want to serve with your entire life. Now, Jesus isn't saying that you have to serve to the point of death. Okay, I'm not telling everybody that that's what it has to look like. But I think Jesus is saying that serving should require a sacrifice from your life. So serving is not just, because I think we hear serving and we're like, okay, I'm going to serve in kids ministry. And as the kids minister, I would say, please come serve with me in kids ministry. But that's not what he's saying. He's not just saying serve once a week on Sunday mornings in kids min. He's not saying don't serve just at the meal packing event for that one Saturday. Don't just serve by going on that one spring break mission trip. And hear me, those things are all really, really good. I am telling you to sign up for them because they will benefit you and the people that you're serving. So do it. But here's the difference. Don't just do that and then spend the rest of your life thinking about yourself, because that's not enough. Jesus is asking us to do more. See, Jesus gave his entire life serving us. And so how do we begin to do that? I think first and foremost, we have to change our perspective. We have to look at our plans and our desires and our focus on us, and we have to put that to the side. We have to make that second, and we have to begin to ask God to open our eyes to opportunities to serve the people around us. And if you're in here and you're like, I don't really know a way to serve on a daily basis, like in my school or at home, like I just don't really see ways that I can serve. If I can be really honest, then you don't want to see it, because it's there. And so we need to begin to pray that God would open our eyes, that we would have a heart willing to see it, and that we would actually be willing to act on it. And so here are some really practical ideas of ways to serve the people around you. This is not an all-inclusive list. You could think of more. This is a very simple first step kind of list. You can serve your family by thanking your mom or dad or whoever cooks for you for cooking dinner. So tomorrow, if you are home for dinner and they put food in front of you, you can say, thanks, Mom, right? It's very simple. We're trying to teach my 3-year-old how to do that. So they're like, oh, I like this, right? Like, thank you, Mom, for making dinner. It's so simple, but it's a moment to just appreciate that they provide for you, that they took the time to make that food, that they're sitting with you. Sometimes serving can just be honoring and appreciating someone. With your friends, what if you were just to ask them tomorrow at school, hey, how are you? How's school going? How's today going? And then here's the kicker. Listen to what they're saying. Listen without thinking about how you want to respond or thinking about a story that you need to tell or a way that you can one-up what they're saying right now, but just simply serve them by caring about what they're saying to you. You can serve your coaches and your teachers by respecting their authority, even if you don't like them, even if you disagree with them. That respect is a huge act of service. If they don't have to deal with another eye roll or another back-talking student, that is an act of service for them. You can serve at church. You can serve by helping park cars or serving in kids ministry, but you can also serve by picking up your trash so that someone else doesn't have to. Right? It's so simple, some of these things that we can do. And you can serve, your waitress when you go out to eat, your bus driver, an annoying kid that sits behind you in biology. You can serve any person that you come in contact with. You can serve every person you encounter if you just think about things differently. So we don't have to be crazy. We don't have to be like, okay, here I am. I'm in front of this waitress right here. What do? I need this grand gesture, this amazing way to serve them right now. You also don't have to be like, I need something that's really painful. It's got to be painful if it's a sacrifice. If I'm serving, it has to be really difficult. Because I'm afraid if we go into things like that, we're going to give up. Because that's really difficult to keep up with. And we kind of miss the point. So rather, I think one of the simplest ways to make sure you serve the people that you encounter is just ask this question: how can I love them right now? How can I love this person right now? How can I love this group of people right now? Rather than asking, how can I receive this love? How can I receive more and fill myself up? Rather, how can I show love to someone else? Band, you can start making your way up here. Jesus told us that people would know that we are his followers by the way that we love one another. And so if we make it our goal to simply ask that question, how can I love them right now? Then the serving part will come naturally. Because if you want to love them, you're going to think about them and what the best way is to care and serve for them in that moment. And so if you want to be great, if you want to lead, you need to serve. And you need to serve with your whole life by the way that you love the people around you. So I'm going to pray, we're going to worship, and then students, we're going to go into our groups and be able to dive into that a little bit more. So if you bow your heads and pray with me. Dear Jesus, we're just so thankful that you served us first, and that you served us in a way that we never could repay. That you sacrificed everything for us while we were undeserving and frankly unlovable and a mess, that you still gave up everything for us. And so God, we pray that we can Stop viewing ourselves as the main character and the whole point of our life, but instead look at you and what you did. And that we would ask that question, how can we love people right now? How can we serve people right now rather than ourselves? And that, God, you would open doors and open our eyes to see it and give us the boldness to act on those moments as well. We love you so much. We give you all this praise. It's in your name we pray. Amen.